Dr. Joe Griffin. Yeah.
Y'all doing? How y'all doing? Y'all come on in. We're going live today. We can't be defeated. Say never give up. Never give up. Say never give up.
I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin. It's Dr. Joe Griffin.
Say it. Make sure we public.
I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's intention is teaching and talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. Reach for the top, regardless of situations, predicaments, or your conditions. He's making history, all of the districts, and creating retention from teachers. 50 to 80%, they know that you hear me. He is the mentor. He paved the way with his dip methodology, really. Dream, be persistent, face fears, seek change, go out and go get it. This what you learning with Dr. Joe Griffin.
Y'all come on in. Yeah, we public this time, y'all.
He says recognize trauma.
They never give up, never give up, never give up.
Work your perspective and look at it change. Find a goal, set it.
Never give up, never give up.
Time, self-awareness.
We here.
These are the few of the things he's trying to get you to do every day.
We can't be defeated, y'all. Educators, gotta be in your best year yet. Hang in there with me, I'm telling you.
But first, you need to get some fuel at gas station.
We're gonna always speak life into you. We're gonna always come into the empowerment zone.
That's outrageous. Got his doctorate in education.
But y'all come on in, y'all come on in, like, comment, share. Let me know where you signing in from. We about to go in today. We about to go in today.
I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's
watch this.
Teaching and talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. Reach for the top, regardless of situations, predicaments, or your conditions. He's making history, all of the districts, and creating retention from teachers. 50 to 80%, they know that you hear me. He is the mentor. He paved the way with his dip methodology, really. Dream, be persistent, face fears, seek change, go out and go get it. This what you learn.
Y'all get in here, get in here.
With Dr. Joe Griffin.
Get in here. Get in here. Say never give up, never give up, never give up. Great day, great day, great day, leaders. Welcome to the Empowerment Zone, y'all. Week 44. Week 44 was a struggle getting back on the live. We had to go through StreamYard, do some paperwork and all of that. Had to write up a ticket, but guess what? Never give up, never give up. We still here. We still here. We're going to flow the information. Sometimes things get in our way, you all. Sometimes things get in our way, but we never give up. We never give up. As leaders, as educators, that's what we do. So, welcome. Week 44. I'm going to take a breath, you all, because I've been trying to come to you live for the last 2 days. I had to actually write up a ticket with the people at StreamYard and then go into the Facebook integrations and all that. So guess what? It was a setback, but I had an opportunity to grow. I had an opportunity to grow. And we're going to talk about that today. We're talking, I'm going to tell you what we're talking about today. We're talking intentionality plus instruction equal impact. But before we get into that, you all, we got some house cleaning to do. I want to continue to congratulate all of the schools who did well on their state assessment, who have shown growth, who met expectations, who raised the bar, for students, for families, for generations to come, because you don't realize, but you're making an impact that will last for quite some time. So continue to keep that great work up. And if you're at a school who did not meet the data marks, don't allow that to get you down. You got to use the data like a flashlight. You got to use the data as a flashlight to shine on those opportunities for growth. So we're going to talk more in depth about data next week. If you notice, everything is sequential. That's why I wanted to make sure I got this episode in this week, because we got first week, we talked about mindset, mission, and methods. If you didn't catch it, week 43, make sure you go back and catch it. Today, it's intentionality, instruction, and impact. And then next week, well, not this week now, actually, Sunday, we're going to talk about the journey of juggling the data. We're talking nothing but data. And I also, on that same day, will get an opportunity to join the Jaguars podcast. So appreciate that opportunity as well. And we'll share that out also. So again, congratulations to those schools that did well. Those that did not meet growth, use the data as a flashlight and opportunity to grow. Also, just want to ask you to sign in. Let me know where you're streaming in from. It's very important. I want to get your participation. I want to collaborate with you. I want us to be able to connect. I definitely want you to get the information. You're going to get the information, as you already know, over the prior 43 episodes, because this is 44. We've been dropping so much information. And I actually had an opportunity to watch them back. So I know that there's enough information that leaders, teachers can really shape their buildings, their districts, their classrooms to be exactly what you want them to be. And we're going to continue to build on that information over the course of the year. Make sure you follow me on social media. I've been blasting information for educators. You all know I love strategies. I love implementations, because the DIP approach, discipline, culture, plus instructional practice, is all about collaborative practices that you can use to better your situation to increase performance. So just make sure you're paying attention to those little tidbits. I'll reference some here and there as well, but this brings me excitement. It brings me joy. Can't you see the passion? I hope you can, because I just love the conversations that we're able to have on education. And as always, you all, I like to start out with a quick conversation before we get into our topic, and the things that we talk about before we get into the content. They're both motivational as well as educational. So what I mean by that is those people who are listening who may not even be educators, normally that first little part that we talk about is applicable to life in general, as well as what we use as educators. And first thing I want to talk about before we get into the intentionality, before we get into the instruction, which both of those equal impact, I want to just tell you that impact relies on growth. What do you mean, Dr. Joe, that impact relies on growth? Well, first off, your growth, and my growth as well, because we grow with and through other people. We do this together. Our growth lies or resides in those things that often we want to avoid. Not trying this, not listening to the advice of an elder or even a younger person who may be giving some good advice. We avoid those things that often make us want to grow. I use myself for example. The live didn't go public last week, but I thought maybe it was just a glitch. I said maybe this week it's just going to mysteriously do it by itself, because it had done it for 43 episodes prior, right? But the truth is I avoided checking, and I should have been able to check immediately after. It's not going to fix itself. So in thinking about that, our growth resides in some of those things that we avoid. So we got to be open-minded to perspective, open-minded to strategies, open-minded to implementations that come our way. Because here's the thing, it didn't just fall into your vicinity so you couldn't use it. You're not just watching these live streams and keeping up with all of the weeks prior because there's not information that you can use. So we got to understand that our growth a lot of time resides in those things that we avoid. What about technology? Is that something that you avoid? It was something that I avoided for a long, long time. But now I feel like I can try out any type of technology. And I'm using myself because I know you all don't have these problems. I know that you tackle everything that you see. You don't have any fears about growth. And we already know that your growth resides in those things that you try to avoid. But me, sometimes I have to go the other way, and I have to realize I have to check myself because I'm human. But in keeping that in mind, that your growth resides in those things that you avoid, also, you don't have to be perfect to grow, just intentional. I'm going to say that one more time. You don't have to be perfect to grow. You just have to be intentional about using the information, using those failures, using those losses as lessons to put you to next, greater, higher, better levels. That's what it's all about. You don't have to be perfect to grow. You just have to be intentional about what you do with the information. And this is crucial, you all. If we think about this on a day-to-day basis and we continue to remind ourselves that we don't have to be perfect to grow, you drown out the fear of criticism. You drown out those negative voices that come your way that tell you don't do this or don't do that, but the Lord has already told you that it's for you to do. So you got to be able to recognize when you're living in that lane that you're not deciding to grow because you're trying to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect to grow. You just have to be intentional. And the third point of that, despite the mess, miracles are possible. Despite the mess, miracles are possible, you all. Anything is possible to those who believe, and we have to believe. You got to want it on a day-to-day basis, and you believe through what you put into it, through the work that you put in. Your belief, your faith, your confidence, it doesn't come from not putting in the work. So understand that impact relies on growth. You don't have to be perfect to grow, just intentional. Your growth resides in those things that we try to avoid. And just because you're in a mess doesn't mean that you can't have a miracle. And I'm going to show you a quick miracle, you all, because I believe in miracles. And then we're going to come back. We're going to get into the contact. But I want to show you a quick clip of a miracle, because some of these school turnarounds that we go to and that we're involved in, or these school improvement, because not only do low-performing schools need school improvement, but also your high-performing schools. There's always room to improve. But when we think about that, what are we putting into it? So I want to show you a quick clip just to motivate you, because they once said it, that we couldn't do it. They once said that this team that I'm about to show you couldn't do it. 45 seconds, you all. Then we're gonna come back and get into the content. Meanwhile, stream in, sign in, let me know where you're in from.
My son has more.
The community has a lot to cheer for since the school's performance scores have gone from a D to a B.
But it feels good to us. Everybody now we're coming up.
Principal Joe Griffin says his school is seeing its highest test scores in school history.
Our English scores, we actually passed 95 out of 112 that took the test on last year. Algebra scores, about 55 out of the 60 that took the test. So we know that we're doing the things that are necessary to put kids in position to be successful. The Tiger acronym, turning into greatness, expecting real success. We are Tigers.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Just a little motivation for you, a quick receipt, let you know that things don't just happen. You have to be intentional. You have to be intentional when you go in these schools. Every single day, you have to be purposeful in what you're putting down, what you're talking about, those practices that you have in place. You got to love it. Dr. Houston, thank you for checking in. You got it worked out. I definitely appreciate you, Dr. Houston, for being there and answering the phone. I appreciate you very much. Very much. Fennis Lofton, watching from Biloxi, Mississippi. Definitely appreciate you signing in. Definitely appreciate you signing in, you all. So we open up a little bit about where your impact relies on. The impact relies on our growth. And now we get into some content. One of the things I want you to think about as we continue tonight, what is your instructional focus? What's that big bucket area that you're working on? If you're a leader, what are you professionally developing your teachers? Which area is your main focus? If you're a teacher, same thing. What is your best area that you're working on? Or what area do you need to work on so that you can continue to improve? And signature strategy. What's your signature strategy? We're going to talk a little bit more about that once we get to the instruction piece as well. But right now, we want to talk a little bit about intentionality. All right, a little bit about intentionality. You drive engagement with intention. And intention is formed through your plans. You drive engagement with intention. So you have to be intentional about driving the engagement, but then you handle that engagement, or you influence that engagement with the plan. Your plan is your foundation. So you got to design it before you deliver it. That's the first thing under this instruction. Design it before you deliver it. And that second part, design it backwards. So let's talk about that for a minute. What does that look like when you're talking about being intentional in your instruction, when you're talking about designing the lesson, right? So that it'll be engaging for students. Now, we look at that and we think about designing an engaging lesson. Before you ever deliver, you want to be able to make sure that you checked out your objectives. You have matched those things that you're going to do before class, as well as those things that you're going to exit class with. Same thing with your professional development for your leaders. You want to make sure that you already know where you're going with the professional development for teachers. Teachers, you want to already know where you're going with the learning for students. So you want to design it before you deliver it. And the second part of that is design it backwards. Design it with the end in mind. I know you hear that all the time, and that's not cliche. That's not just something that we say. When you design it with the end in mind, you looking at where you want them to go. Just like with people, we talk about looking at the potential, not necessarily the person. Same thing with the lesson. We got to look at where we want it to go versus where they actually are. So in the design of that, we want to make sure we look at it backwards and then we bring it forward. Third thing under intentionality piece, and this is huge, this is big. Move sequentially with your professional development as well as your pacing. This taking your professional development to the next level. If I'm able to align sequentially my professional development along with the pacing, now I have a better opportunity to ensure that teachers as well as students are growing at the right time toward the ultimate goal. We talk about scaffolding instructional practices for teachers, right? If I'm trying to get you to work toward reciprocal teaching techniques, I need to ensure first that you also work with pairing. You work with the think, pair, share type activities as well, because now as you gradually grow up to reciprocal teaching, which may involve 4 or 5 in a group, but you extending those reading skills so that they can have everything that they need and take ownership of the lesson. So you want to design your lessons before you deliver it. You want to design it backwards with the end in mind. And then you want to move sequentially with your professional development as well as your pacing for teachers. Woo-wee! That's loads of information. I hope you got it. I hope you got it. That's a lot of intentionality right there, because now we're moving on a mission. We talked about method, mindset, and missions last week. All this is coming back together. Now we inputting the intentionality piece. To be intentional, you got to have a plan. You can't call yourself intentional without a plan. And I know that there are different ideas about lesson planning, and I'm flexible with them. I believe in lesson planning, of course, whether you're talking about low performing or high performing. However, high performing teachers of high performing students or at high performing schools, they have a little bit more leeway with lesson planning because the kids are already proficient. And when that happens, more facilitation can occur. But if I have a group of struggling learners that I know aren't on grade level, haven't mastered the objectives, I have to be intentional about my planning. I have to design those lessons before I deliver it. I have to design it backwards. And I have to move sequentially with my pacing. I don't want to be teaching quadratic formula or quadratic equation and they don't know how to do fractions. I don't want to be doing the 5-paragraph essay and they haven't mastered sentence writing. So sequentially, we want to move sequentially. That's a big, big bucket. If you understand what I'm saying, if you like what I'm saying, definitely put it in the chat. If you otherwise, please share, like, comment, subscribe, all of that, y'all. We're about to go in on this instruction tonight. Intentionality plus instruction equal impact. Ooh, wait. You got to love what you're doing, you all. You got to love what you're doing. Now, what's going to be your signature strategy? What's going to be that thing that you work on? Action planning. Action planning around intentionality. Couple of things here. Leaders, align your coaching cycles, like we just mentioned. Teachers, plan out your warm-ups and your closers for as long as you can. That's going to help you be able to fill in the meat of those lessons. And that's whether you're using the Malin Hunter lesson plan model, whether you're using the 5 E's, whatever your lesson plan model is, you're going to be able to use them. Okay? So again, warm-ups and closures for teachers, leaders, plan out those planning cycles, those professional development cycles. Align them with the coaching, align them with your professional development so that everything flows naturally. So you creating systems within systems. That's what the DIP approach is all about. Making it so that we don't have to question, that we understand every single day what we're doing, where we need to be in our roles as teachers, as well as leaders. You hear what I'm saying? You like what I'm saying? Definitely like, comment, subscribe, share it out. I know people need this information, you all. That's why I keep coming back, because I know that there are educators that need the information, so I want to be able to be there for you. We got some things coming up where we're going to actually lay it on the line. So with that being said, we want to move to the instruction piece just a little bit. Just a little bit. I love instruction, you all. I love instruction. It's the crust of what we do. And all educators are leaders. All students are capable. It's the motto that drives us. So we may as well try to stack wins. Yes, indeed. So with that in mind, classroom uniformity. This is big, you all. Classroom uniformity principles. You want to create some form of familiarity throughout the school for students. You got to get out your own head. We got to make sure that we're a team first off, right? I put out a video just yesterday about the top 10. Make sure you go back there. And I also went in depth on week 4 from the first volume of the Speaking Life into You Leadership live stream, where we talk about the classroom uniformity pieces, having those top 10 items throughout the school, because that's going to help your students be more familiar. That gives the teachers some form of structure, as well as providing a team atmosphere. This is powerful, just that small concept. So ensure that you have those in place. Your classroom uniformity principles, rituals, and routines are not dead. I'm going to say that again because you didn't hear me. Rituals and routines are not dead. We want to continue to provide safe, common, familiar places where students can learn, where teachers can increase their capacity and teach to their highest levels. And what make you think that having a place that's familiar won't make that more important? That's crucial. Every teacher is going to have their own style. Every leader is going to have their own style. But those uniformity principles, they give us something to work with and something to build toward. You say, now you want to talk about those signature strategies. I mentioned it a little bit, but your signature strategies, not a rubric. We're not talking about things you check out, but we're talking about those signature strategies. Turn and talk. We're talking about reciprocal teaching. Y'all know I love reciprocal teaching. It's one of the most impactful strategies that you can implement in a school or a classroom. Your stations, you all know I love stations. They accelerate the learning and they allow you to cover multiple objectives at the same time. Why not? Why could I not love stations and reciprocal teaching? You got your KWL charts, right? All of those can be signature strategies. But in addition to your signature strategies, you also want to have initiatives. Let me explain. Your initiatives are going to run within your departments, right? They'll run school-wide, but they will also run within your departments. Now, you may have vocabulary integration. You may have the use of visuals. There may be test prep initiatives. There may be the use of graphic organizers or anchor charts. All of those can be initiatives. Now, you say, what's the difference between an initiative and a signature strategy, Dr. Joe? Well, your signature strategies, those provide opportunities for the student to actually do it, right? Think, pair, share, you actually having a conversation. Reciprocal teaching, you actually breaking down the reading. Stations, you actually doing the work within stations. Chunk reading, you actually doing the chunking. Your signature strategies, your initiatives, rather, you're going to push them school-wide. It may be trauma-informed. It may be reading, writing across the curriculum. It may be graphic organizers, bubble maps, whatever within that range. But within your initiatives, there's more flexibility. So you may not use a graphic organizer the same way each time. In addition to that, there are multiple types of graphic organizers. So if it's an initiative, the educator has more leeway than the particular signature strategy. The signature strategy, it is what it is. We're going to use it. We're going to maximize. We're going to hope that it's high yielding as far as performance. So you're looking at your classroom uniformity principles, signature strategies, and then school-wide and departmental initiatives. All of that is going to help you shape your instructional program. Action planning under instruction. Pick 2 to 3 signature strategies that you're going to push through your school. The 2 I like that I always push through my schools, how we were able to, you saw that clip at the beginning of the show where we had those magnificent results. Stations, reciprocal teaching, KWL charts, thinking maps, graphic organizers. We had study skills initiatives. We had a study skill initiative, right? That's powerful, y'all. And we actually ran across 2 semesters. And when you add that type of input in, the students are going to put out. When you get that kind of input, your students are going to put out. They're going to perform. Teacher capacity is going to raise. You're going to be in a better place academically as well as culturally. Woo! As well as culturally. Which brings us to impact. Before we get to impact, that second part of that action plan, educators collaborate on your walkthrough instrument to upgrade the instruction. I'm talking to you now because you got to think on another level. You got to think on another level as an educator. And teachers, you can actually talk with your administrators about asking them to have this type of input on a collaborative level. But if teachers and administrators, y'all know I'm big on collaboration. That's the base, the crust of my work. So if teachers and administrators work together on the walkthrough instrument, think about how that's going to impact instruction. Intentionality plus instruction equal impact. And now we get to that cultural piece when you're talking about the impact. When you're talking about intentionality plus instruction equal impact. So we just broke down a great deal of information on intentionality. I just gave you some great stuff on instruction, those classroom uniformity principles, right? We talked about those signature practices. We talked about establishing those initiatives, gave you several ideas within those statements. So if you didn't catch them, make sure you go back so that you can, because it's powerful, y'all. And all those are high yielding strategies, tried and true. And then we talked about action planning that you can do, catering those walkthroughs together with the teacher and the principals, superintendent that's going to build up. That's going to build it up. You hearing what I'm saying? Definitely like, comment, share out, subscribe, all of the above. Put in the chat where you're signing in from as well. We on fire. Love what you do, you all. Love what you do. Have the passion for what you do. Now we get to impact. Impact. I'm gonna put that formula up there for y'all. Know I like formulas. You know I like formulas. You know I like acronyms. So when I tell you that impact, what's impact? When you think about what is impact, how does impact work? That's the force that you bring to establish something. The power or the empowerment that comes with you when you step into a situation, when you apply pressure to something. All of that is impact. And what's the best way to make impact? The number one way to make impact is create psychologically safe spaces. Create environments where leaders, teachers, students, parents, and all stakeholders feel like they belong and are accepted. This is the number one piece to make an impact as a leader. I refer back to that clip because that was the first year. Then we kept going for 4 years thereafter, and we never looked back. That was the first time in history, as you heard him mention, but we kept going up and we stayed in that range because of the impact, the psychological safety that the teachers had. They knew that their leader was supporting them. They knew that their leader was going to do everything that he could to put them in a situation to be successful so they could in turn ensure the student success. Powerful, y'all. So that psychological safety piece in both social and emotional states. Y'all see I had said SEL without saying SEL. In both social and emotional states. So keep that in mind also. We talk about cultivating a culture of collaboration. We talk about purposefully, intentionally creating a culture of collaboration. Collaboration is a mindset. It's not a strategy. Collaboration is intentional. It's not random. Collaboration is not a one-time event. It's a journey that has to happen over and over and over and over again. So in cultivating that, we know that this is something that has to be done over and over again. That means we need to constantly have it in our present state of mind. It has to become a mindset, not just a strategy. We can't just try to collaborate when the pressure's on or when there's a need for something or to get something done. We have to collaborate even during those times when pressure is low, even during those times that things are going great. Sometimes even during those times when you have it all under control. Collaboration is what's going to push your school, your team, your group to next and greater levels. Third thing under impact, provide systems that decrease burnout. Provide systems that decrease burnout. And we talk about specifically things like reflection circles so that people can decompress, so that leaders, teachers, as well as a student reflection circle as well, where they can decompress and let out some of that stress. A lot of times, unexpressed emotions come out the wrong way, or they come out during a moment of rage, or during a moment of frustration, or during a moment of fatigue. So when I think about those things, we got to make sure that we're creating a psychologically safe environment through a culture of collaboration with systems that alleviate burnout because I need you to come in here, decompress some of that stress. We know as educators, the pressure's always on. The targets are always moving. Each year is different. Each year is something different. You got curriculum shifts. You got different administrators. You got different teachers on your team. So there's a lot that goes into educating children. There's a lot that goes into increasing teacher capacity. And we want to always create those spaces where we can do just that. So we want to provide those opportunities for impact. And the biggest thing about making impact, and you all hear me talk about this all the time, and I know you're listening. I know that you look at the videos because I see the views. I know that we're making an impact. That's why we keep coming back. That's why I could not allow another night to pass without getting these 3 I's out: intentionality plus instruction equal impact. But the biggest thing in making impact, one of the biggest things, because they all work together, nothing is bigger than the other. Each point matters. Empower your teams within teams. Empower your teams within teams. What are you talking about, Dr. Joe? Your professional learning community teams. You should have multiple, because you got multiple grade levels, you got multiple subjects. That's 2 different teams potentially right there. You got your crisis prevention teams. You have your leadership team. You have your cultural team. You might have a PBIS team, but empower those teams within the big team. Because now, if I got more teams, I've got more leaders. If I got more leaders, I got more teachers who are working together. If I got more teachers who are working together, I got more students who are performing at high levels. I should drop the mic, but I ain't gonna drop it, you out, because I gotta keep going. I gotta keep going. But empower your teams within teams. This is powerful information. This is crucial. And you may already know this. You may be already doing this. But right now we in the present. So re-up it, reiterate it. Go back in, reignite that fire. Attack it a different way. Empower them even more. Right? Give them what they need so they can be successful. Intentionality plus instruction equal impact. Make sure you go back, double down on the instruction piece. Go back to week 4 from volume 1 of the Speaking Life in You Leadership live stream. I actually go in more in depth on the top 10, as well as some of those uniformity practices. We even talked about the walkthrough instrument, as well as even gave a background on discipline culture plus instruction practice equals performance, because I want you all going into your best year yet. If you've heard what I said, you like what I said, you definitely like, comment, subscribe, put it in the chat. Let us know where you're streaming in from. We appreciate you all so much. Got some more things that I want to tell you. Also, we finally got it. That is not right. Let me make this edit real quick. Joe Griffin. All right, y'all. Check this out. It's available. Dip Approach for Educator digital course. It's about 5.5, between 5.5, 6 hours of content. Straight dip methodology. And we haven't talked about this information on any of the 44 live streams, right? It's coming directly from dip methodology, because a lot of things I talk about, but we don't have the time to go in depth on, because we generally on for 45 minutes to an hour each week. But the Dip Approach for Educators digital course, if you're with me, You've been following along, definitely check it out. If you don't do anything but go to the link, check it out. It's definitely available for purchase. And I want you to get in now. Get in now, because guess what? You know, we got those other ones coming also. Already prepared, already working. We've been in the lab, we've been working, we've been putting in the time, because I've got to be there for you. We're going to push educators through their best year yet. Just watch what I tell you. Some of you all have been in every single week, and we appreciate you. So when we come back this Sunday, we're going to talk data, the journey of juggling data. And then I'm going to show you how all this was designed backwards. You're going to see the framework and how I designed everything backwards to kind of get to this point. And then from there, we'll go in and we'll start having some guests. Got a big guest, an assistant superintendent coming up out of Maryland on the 17th. And we'll tell you more about that as we keep coming. Also, I'll be on the PGP podcast this Sunday. Definitely check that out. They have a smash. I think Josh Tovar said it was smash number 66 or something like that on the handout that he sent me. So we'll definitely check that out. But again, if you have not, share this out, like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you give me some comments, all of that. If you haven't picked up Empowering Educational Communities, a guide for teacher principal collaboration, also do that as well, because we just want to give back, you all. We're going to Akron, Ohio next week for a full day of professional development. We're going to keynote them. We're going to do dip approach presentation. We're going to do breakout sessions, leadership team workshop as well. So check with me, you all. We are not going to give up. Never give up, never give up, never give up. We are relentless in our approach and those things that we do, and we believe. We believe. And guess what? It's a movement. It's a real movement. People are moving along with the dip approach. So why not join the movement? Why not join the movement, you all? I definitely want to close out. As you continue to live, learn, lead, and love with your heart, make sure you continue to search for wisdom so that you can find your true purpose, and continue to be courageous so you can drown out all fear. That's my favorite part, y'all. Y'all had a best day, best week. I'll see you Sunday at our normal time. Much love. Peace.